If I were to ditch my entire 2,000 plus bottle fragrance collection and only keep 10, these are the ones that I'm going to keep, at least as of right now. If you were to ask me this next year, list is probably going to look a little bit different. And as time goes on, this will change as well. That doesn't mean that this is plumb full of new releases. Actually, there are quite a few classics in here for me that I've worn consistently for years that I just have to have. But I can't say that something new might come along that would dethrone one of these. But as of right now, these are the ones that I would want to keep. We're kind of focused more towards the fall sector, fall and winter, but there's plenty of summer scents in here. We're going to actually start off with the year-rounder. It is Dior Homme Original. This is basically just OG Dior Homme. This is what it smelled like before they had to go and mess with it and make Dior Homme 2020. You know, the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now, that's gonna upset people because, you know, they're gonna think I don't like Dior Homme 2020. I don't mind it. And now that we have the option to get this if we want it, I think that's cool. Dior Homme 2020 is a fantastic compliment Polar. It is incredibly versatile. It is a massive people pleaser. So from the outside looking in, there's nothing not to like. And I agree. I think it does so many things right. But when you compare it up against Dior Homme, what cultivated this big iris trend, there's just zero comparison. And when they took away the original and replaced it with that, you could imagine why some people would maybe be a little bit frustrated by that. But as I mentioned, now that we have a choice, you could get the old school version with the iris and stuff, which is what this is, or you can get the 2020 version. That is the better way to go about things. And so that's what this does. It just takes that fresher iris DNA and brings it back. Dior Homme Intense is a little bit too sweet for day-to-day wear, especially when it's a bit warmer outside. This one here basically solves that problem. It's just a fresher take. And again, this is where it started. This is what kicked off that. You gotta keep in mind, if it wasn't for Dior Homme, we wouldn't have Dior Homme Intense, we wouldn't have Dior Homme Parfum, we probably wouldn't have Gentleman Eau de Parfum and all of those other popular sweet iris scents. So everything kind of really took a big shift revolving around this scent DNA right here. I love having this stuff around. This next one, more summer leaning, is Bulgari Aquamarine, technically discontinued, but it is in stock and has been popping up regularly on fragrance discounters. I love how this one smells. It's still not my favorite when you compare it to Bulgari Aqua Atlantique. However, Atlantique has been discontinued and hard to find for several years now, and so I'm not going to feature that one if you can't get it. As I've said before, these videos would look a whole lot different if I were talking about discontinued fragrances, but I try not to do that. This basically just takes that aquatic seaweed Bulgari Aqua smell and brings in a little bit more of a bright freshness with grapefruit and some more floral components and stuff like that. You know, Bulgari Aqua, you would expect it to be a fresh summer scent, and it is, but with some depth too. A lot of seaweed, and that really does give it a bit of a different type of green twist. Aquamarine, on the other hand, again, it just kind of freshens things up. They really aren't making things quite like this anymore. The whole Bulgari Aqua lineup is basically done for. I wish that they would start putting some money into some more new flankers within this line instead of just letting it die, because man, I think they had a really good thing going with these. When you take a look at a lot of the newer aquatics today, aside from like Acqua di Gio Profondo, which is 5 years old now, going on 6 years old, we're just not really getting much innovation in this sector, at least from what I'm seeing as far as designers go. But the Bulgari Aqua line was a lineup that really stood out in this category. And so for me, for summertime, I love having Bulgari Aquamarine. The bottles are kind of a bit of a hit or miss type of deal. As far as, you know, practicality, they're horrible because they lay like this. Now you can get testers with a stand if you're lucky, and so it'll sit up a little bit, but they still take up a ton of room. They're kind of a trip hazard for your other bottles stacked around them. They don't work well in a large collection that you're trying to organize, but sitting on your dresser or counter or something, man, they do look really cool, and I love that coloration here. This is probably my favorite looking aquamarine or aqua bottle. This next one is Guerlain L'Homme Ideal in the Parfum version. If I'm going to select one, right? If I'm getting rid of everything, my entire collection, and only keeping 10, I will have one L'Homme scent from Guerlain. It's just a matter of which one am I liking the best at that time of me making the video or making my selections. And right now it probably is the Parfum. Now, I am not discrediting the Eau de Parfum. I am not discrediting the Extreme. I'm not saying that now all of a sudden those aren't good. It's just kind of the life cycle of how this goes. They keep releasing new flankers, and sometimes they get better, sometimes they get worse. In this case, this Parfum is a really, really solid addition. And you still get the almond, you still get everything that you would expect from the lineup with the addition of amaretto, basically giving it a bit of a boozy accord. You're mixing in some patchouli as well, just a nice masculine woody undertone, but with a sweet boozy kick alongside that nice powdery, dusty, and slightly creamy almond accord. It smells so, so wonderful. A very expensive and refined smelling scent for a price that isn't completely hateful. Now, retail's up there a bit, $175, I believe, but when this one does pop up on discounters, usually it's going to be right around $120 or a little bit less, which for 100 ml, technically niche, that's really not that bad at all, especially for what you get when you look at everything, the performance, the quality, the uniqueness, everything. This is a 10 out of 10. I'm definitely keeping this. I would definitely be snagging a bottle of Reflection Man 45 Straight. No way I'm getting rid of this stuff. One of my absolute favorites. Such a big improvement over the Eau de Parfum. My only wish is that it wasn't so expensive. I think I'm speaking for everybody with this and with a lot of niche fragrances in general. They do charge an arm and a leg for these, coming in at just a touch over $500 retail. Now, the good news is that it can only get better from there, right? I mean, if you could get a bottle for $350, $380 on discounters, you're saving a lot of money. Now, I've actually found testers for $200 before. And I've sent out emails on it. It always sells out very quick. That's why it pays to be subscribed to my free mailing list. You could do so down below. $200, and that's the buy of a year. That's the buy of a lifetime right there, because that rarely happens, but it has happened before. This is basically just taking that original Reflection Man smell that we love and are very familiar with and increasing the performance by tenfold. I've never gotten the best performance out of the original, and it's not even that it was a weakly concentrated scent. The original's an Eau de Parfum, but man, just the white floral components mixed with I don't know what else, something about it, just that it was lighter and fresher leaning. It did not want to stick around for very long on my skin, which was always kind of a letdown because I've loved how it smelled, but it was frustrating to wear it when it would go away so quickly. Not at all the case with this. You would hope it wouldn't be given the price point. This one will last all day long. Easy 12+ hour performer. Again, it's expensive. Don't pay retail. Wait for it to pop up on discounters. I always notify when it does. And it's definitely worth getting if you want an improvement over the Eau de Parfum in every way. That being said, it's a white floral for men. It's not what everybody might expect. Don't blind buy this unless you're sure. This next one is Acqua di Gio Profondo. This is the Eau de Parfum version. It's technically, I don't know, it's regular Profondo, I guess, because now they have the Eau de Toilette, which came out, of course, after regular Profondo. Profondo started out as an EDP. Even before it was labeled EDP, it was EDP, okay? And they've kind of gone through and changed things up, changed the bottle. It now has a bit of a gradient. It now says Eau de Parfum on the front. Changes always, which kind of confuses people, but this is just regular smelling Profondo. This is just what you would get now if you were to buy it. It's all about the mineral notes and the orange, the sea notes as well, some citrus, of course, off the opening. Like I mentioned earlier with Aquamarine, they don't really do aquatics like this. They're not innovating much in this space, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But when it comes to choosing my summer scents, these are kind of the things that I go for, things that stand out a little bit compared to your Nautica Voyages and, a lot of fresh Calvin Kleins. Nothing wrong with those. I love Nautica Voyage, but man, sometimes you want something a bit different to kind of change things up a little bit in the summertime. And Profondo has always kind of done that for me ever since it first came out. At least when we're talking on the designer side, you could dive headfirst into some niche and kind of get a little bit more extreme, but that's not always something I'm wanting to do. And the obvious choice would be that I would keep Acqua di Gio Parfum, which I would as well. This is all a very unrealistic scenario that's never going to happen, but just for throwing in something a little bit different, I would definitely want to keep Profondo. Azzaro, the most wanted parfum, would also be high on the list. If I had to choose only one, boy, I don't know. I guess it would be between this, Wanted by Night, and Forever Wanted. We'll just put it that way. Hopefully I never have to choose, because I think I would just have to pick one at complete random, blindfolded or something. That's how much I like all three. This one in particular basically has a nice ginger focus off the opening, giving it this bubbly fizziness, then lots of tonka bean, lots of sweetness as it dries down. Kind of takes a bit of a step away from the original Wanted smell. Doesn't smell much like Wanted by Night either. And also kind of is following the footsteps of the Most Wanted, and just giving it a little bit more of a fizzy, bubbly opening and a different approach to a sweeter scent. Azzaro, the Most Wanted, just the regular version, the Eau de Parfum, has more of like a toffee sweet gourmand focus. This one, again, is just a different approach on a sweet style scent, and I really enjoy this one. I have for years. Next one here is very obvious. It is Creed Aventus. You guys know I'm definitely keeping a bottle of this on hand. You're probably thinking, you talk about how much you love it, you never wear it. Yeah, of course, I never wear this one. I bought this just because I wanted to experience the metal cap. They do come with a metal cap now. Mostly I'm wearing my older bottles. I've got bottles dating all the way back to 2016, I believe, and so I'm just wearing other stuff like that. Whether it's Aventus or one of the mini clones, I'm always wearing something Aventus related a lot of the times. Typically, if I'm going out, like to a dinner or something, or a formal event, I will wear actual Aventus. If I'm around the house and I'm in the mood for Aventus, but I'm not really going out, I wear a clone. It just makes more sense to me. It's less wasteful in my mind. But of course, if I'm getting rid of everything, I'm keeping Creed Aventus. That's kind of a no-brainer for me. Valentino Uomo Intense up next, a little 50 ml empty bottle, just about down to there. I talked about Dior Homme Original in the beginning of the video. That's kind of a fresher leaning iris. If I had to pick a sweet iris, not choosing a discontinued fragrance, then I guess it would be either this or Dior Homme Intense. My discontinued choice, of course, would be Dior Homme Parfum. I would definitely snag that one up in a heartbeat and hold on to that one and never get rid of any of my Dior Homme Parfum bottles, because I have quite a few of them, and discontinued, of course, now and making way for the 2025. Will they do what they did with Dior Homme Original and put out Dior Homme Parfum Original? I guess it's a high probability, but I don't really know. Anyway, Valentino Uomo Intense, nice sweet iris with a masculine leather focus, bit of a different take on that DNA, which I like. Instead of being overbearingly sweet like Dior Homme Parfum or Dior Homme Intense, the leather gives it more of a masculine, leathery balance, which is appreciated with how sweet that this one can go. Oh, and something perfect for fall, it is Guerlain Apple Brandy. Still cannot believe that something like this exists in the format where you can spray it on your skin and then smell like it. I mean, it is just so realistic. Apple brandy, that's what it smells like. If you don't like, boozy-based fragrances, you're not gonna like this. But if you do, this is one of the very best that you can get. I would say this and Guerlain Straight to Heaven, two of the best boozy fragrances I've ever smelled. This one in particular focuses a lot on a sweet apple. Nice smooth brandy accord. You get this like malt type of smell as well, just kind of adding into what they're trying to achieve with something like this. It is unreal how addicting, how delicious and sexy this one smells. Another one that has kind of a mysterious type of smell to it. It's one where you smell it and it makes you kind of think, and if you walk by people wearing this one, it's definitely going to turn heads. Last up for this video, a very classic choice, Invictus Aqua. This is the 2024, just because it's what you can get right now. I wouldn't be in a big hurry to sell off my 2016 bottles either. Again, probably will never have to, but just for the sake of the video, if I did have to sell everything, I would probably just keep my 2024, I guess. That's how close they are. This compared to the 2016, not a whole lot of a difference, really, and it's kind of insane, actually, given that this was put out so many years later. And I know that it's not like, they can make it again. I understand that, but it's the fact that they did actually go back to the DNA that essentially really kicked off this type of smell. That's pretty cool, and I'm glad that they did. And I've loved Invictus Aqua for years. It's been one of my go-to summer casual just easygoing sense, especially for the pool and for swimming in the lake and stuff, because it just has a way of just not washing off, which is kind of a good thing when you're in the water. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for me. If I was getting rid of everything and only keeping 10, these are what I would go with for now. I will drop links to each and every one of these down below. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.